Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's been a long time since I worked on the old 70 Cadillac right here. It's been sitting here for about 4 months. I had a lot of issues with the fuel system. I think the pickup tube or the pickup sock is clogged up on it. I just kind of got burnt out on it. I'm interested in it again, so I'm getting back onto it. Sometimes you just gotta walk away from a project for a while, and then you kind of, it becomes fresh again when you pull it out. So I am going to get the back of this car jacked up and put it on the ramps and try to get this gigantic fuel tank out. I think it's 30 gallons or something like that. Yeah, I hear you. Alright, I need to apologize. I forgot to pick up the camera, so I kind of skipped some steps here, as I usually do. But I got the tank out. It's fairly easy. One thing about this car is it's really clean underneath, so everything comes apart so easy. The rustiest, worst part of the car is the roof, which is typical Cadillac stuff. I wish it didn't have that vinyl top on it. It would probably be a very, very clean car if it didn't have the vinyl, but it is what it is. At least it's easy to work on underneath. I pulled this off, really dirty. I was kind of expecting there to be some rust on the top of the tank. It's actually very clean, which is good. I was really hoping I'd be able to save this tank, and so far it's looking really clean. But we will see when I look down in there how rusty it actually is. If it's still shiny on the bottom, it should be savable. But if it's got some heavy rust, unfortunately I'm probably gonna have to look for another one. And these tanks are not exactly cheap, so I really don't want to buy one. But hopefully it'll be savable. I've got some of this purple power over here. I'm probably gonna put in there with some nuts and bolts and throw it in the back of my truck. Ride around with it for a couple days, really get it clean inside, flush it out. I know it's got to be dirty and gummy in there because it kept clogging up fuel filters. Also, another thing I noticed when I pulled the tank is it was completely empty, which would explain why it didn't start last time I tried to start it. I just kind of assumed it was a fuel pump issue since it was having problems pulling fuel. Anyway, I'm going to dig into this some more and I'll update you guys on what I find. Alright, so I pulled this out and immediately the sock just crumbled and fell apart. It actually fell back in the tank and it looked like it was totally plugged up with gunk. So I'm going to take a look down in there and see what it looks like. But this sending unit is definitely trashed. It's seen better days. It's got all kinds of gunk all over it. It's pretty bad condition. Well, it looks kind of rough down there, which is kind of what I was afraid of. You can see part of the sock down there. It's kind of hard to see otherwise though. But I'm gonna empty out the little bit that's left in there and take a better look at it. Hey guys, out here in the shop. It's a Friday. I actually took the day off to mess around out here. Had a bunch of PTO needed to burn up, so here I am. Here's the gas tank. This thing has been quite a project getting it clean. I've used purple power, and then what worked a lot better than purple power is actually vinegar. I've been soaking it in vinegar in the back of my truck, and it's been riding in the back of my truck for weeks, it seems like. Maybe a week and a half. And then I power washed it twice, 2 different times. Soaked it, power washed it, soaked it, power washed it. And now, check this out. You can see the metal on the bottom. Shiny metal. It's all cleaned up in there. That's really cool. I did put a bunch of nuts and bolts in there to help scratch off the rust. And I guess it probably worked, but it was kind of a bad idea because I've spent a long time fishing out all these nuts and bolts with this magnet here. And I still have a couple of them rolling around in there that I'm trying to get out. Next time if I do this, I'm probably going to use a chain or something. That should work better. But all in all, this tank looks really good now. I don't see any serious rust. It's not even rusty on the bottom at all, so this tank is definitely usable now. I did put some JB weld right here because it looked like that seam was starting to split right there. It wasn't bad, but I didn't want it to seep right there and leak when the gas tank was full. So just as a preventative maintenance, I just got that all sealed up. I did not want to weld on it. Obviously, you really want to try to avoid welding on a gas tank that's had gasoline in it, but this one probably would have been safe to weld on with all the cleaning that's been done, but I didn't want to take any chances. So this thing's just about ready to go back in the car. I've got that new sending unit I'm going to put in once I fish out the last couple nuts and bolts. So altogether, I think I saved about $500 on this project because these tanks are not cheap. The 70 Cadillacs are not very common, so these tanks are not in high demand or anything, and they're expensive. So a 70 Caddy is just, it's a 2-year only car, 69 and 70, and they're still not very popular today, and they're not super highly sought after or anything like that. So it is kind of hard to find parts for. I'm going to the big swap meet up in Springfield tomorrow, Springfield, Missouri, and maybe I'll find a couple parts. I really need some reflectors for the car. They're pretty much impossible to find, but mostly looking for 57 parts for the LS swap I'm doing, but we'll see what I come up with. Anyway, I'm gonna finish fishing out those nuts and bolts and then get that sending unit put in there. Alright, I bought this sending unit like, I don't know, probably 3-4 months ago. Glad I'm finally getting around to this project. Just been busy with other projects, working on that 57 and stuff. I just kind of put this car on the back burner, kind of got burnt out on it. Glad to be working on it again. So, yeah, I'm going to be putting this in there. Hopefully my gas gauge will work when I get this done. That's what I'm kind of hoping. It should. This here is the vent tube for the gas tank. I'm going to pull out the wire wheel, get that cleaned up. It's got, 50 something years of 55 years of just road grime and dirt on it, so I'm gonna get that cleaned up. I got some new hoses to put on here. Got the one big hose on that side and then the small hose. Not really sure why there's 2 vent hoses, but they connect right there, so let me go ahead and do that. Okay, vent tube's looking good. Got it all cleaned up and got my new hoses on there to replace the really horribly rotten hoses. And I know I do have 2 different kinds of clamps on there. That's going to bother me. I better get this together before I think about that too much. Alright, I got my wiring done. Kind of put some tape in there like what they'd have from the factory. It's not the correct stuff, but mostly it'll hold it in place so the wires don't get crushed. And I got my new hoses on here. I gotta cut them down to length. Same with these ones. I'll have to cut them to length when I get them up, get this thing up in there. Alright, the gas tank is in. The sending unit's all wired up. The new hoses on. I also, one thing I didn't film is I changed the gear oil in the rear end. Cleaned up and painted the diff cover. So that's got some fresh oil in it. So now I just got to put some gas in it here. See what happens. I'm really hoping the gas gauge works. Kind of need a gas gauge on this pig. It'll drink the gas. Hi guys, a couple weeks later, back on the Caddy. I've been pretty bad about making videos here on this car. I've just been fitting in little things here and there when I have time to work on it. It does run great now that the sending unit's fixed. Gas tank's all cleaned out, so that's good. Still has a very weird idle. It's kind of almost sounds like it's misfiring, but I haven't been able to figure that out. It runs great above idle. Thinking might have a small vacuum leak or something. Right now I'm working on some electrical things. This car's got tons of electrical gremlins. That's the downside of these old caddies. A lot of electrical stuff. I wish it just had crank windows. The two back windows worked, front windows don't, but that's whole nother story. Right now I'm just trying to make the car legal. The turn signals don't work. Taking the column apart to replace the turn signal switch. Hopefully that's what's wrong with it. It does look kind of crusty in there. So I've got all that apart, and I'm going to take this panel off and work on, there's a starter relay doohickey back in there that I'm going to replace. I have a new one of those, and I'm hoping if I replace that I'll actually be able to use the key to start it instead of the push button that I rigged up a while back, and hopefully get some of these wiring issues sorted out. I need to pull the radio out. I'm going to be putting a radio in this thing eventually. I'm just going to have kind of start with a blank canvas and try to remove any unneeded wiring and just kind of start from scratch so I know what I'm working with here. Alright guys, been replacing parts. This car is really fighting me. I put a new turn signal switch in it, and I put a new starter switch right there, and a new brake light switch. And I was getting hazard lights, but I wasn't getting turn signals still, and it's still fighting me. It'll work when this is out, but as soon as I put it in there and screw it in, it'll quit working. My first issue ended up being just the flasher. I bought a brand new flasher and I put it on and it was bad out of the box or something. It's actually not bad, because when I switch it over with the four-way relay it works, so I guess it was just the wrong kind of flasher. And I put the old one back on and I get a right turn signal but no left turn signal, so I didn't think it was the flasher, and I was tracking wiring and just going, making sure all my connections were good again, and just chasing a rabbit there. And then I borrowed this flasher from my 57, and it works. So now I got both my turn signals. I got an indicator on the dash that's out, but that's not a big deal. I'll fix that. So now I'm trying to figure out why when I screw this in, it's not working. It's a big nightmare right now. I'm trying to figure this out. Alright, finally figured out the turn signal dilemma. What was happening is, this is the wrong switch. I got one that was for a regular, it was kind of a universal deal. It wasn't designed for the tilt wheel telescoping column here. And the hazard button, where the hazard little button would screw into, had a little nub on it, and it was pushing against the sliding mechanism to make the hazards flash. So when I was pushing it in there, it was actually pushing on that halfway, and it was kind of delaying it between hazards and turn signals, so nothing was working. It took me, I think, 3 hours to figure this out. It was very difficult to figure out. I got to the bottom of it, and I just ground off that little nub, and now it works as it should. You see, I got my turn signal, and I got this turn signal. Now that indicator's out, but both lights are working, so that's awesome. Now I can continue onward. I'm going to take this janky old radio out of here so I can have access up beneath, and I'm just going to leave that radio out because I'm going to be putting something modern in here that I can actually use. And I'm going to get to the back of here and try to fix that indicator right there, as well as some other things like my fuel gauge doesn't work, and It's a mess under there, let me tell you what. Look at all those wires. It's been hacked into a few times. Alright, I successfully got the indicator fixed. It was just some corroded connections. Generator light's working too. I gotta get the steering wheel back together. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back on the Caddy. It's been a little while. Been busy. Went on a little vacation. I'm back now and ready to work on this thing a little bit. I always forget how massive this car is. It just keeps on going and going and going and going. Alright, let's see if this thing will cold start on me here. Got my little kill switch down here. Now everybody will know where it's at. I did have a draw on the battery, but that's why I put that in there, but that should be fixed now that I put a new starter relay in it. I think that's what was stuck on. Well, the fuel filter's looking a little dirty. Could potentially become an issue. It's probably just whatever is left in that tank that I cleaned out. Alright, today's order of business is fixing the vacuum advance. I'm going to try hooking it up to manifold pressure instead of ported and see if it'll run idle smoother and have more power and cool better when it's idling. Right now my current issue is it's overheating when it sits in idles. It'll get all the way up to 230 and continue onward if I don't shut it off. So that's an issue. Give it a bunch of pumps. This big block likes a lot of pumps, even with the choke working correctly. It's kind of odd. I still don't think this carburetor is quite right, but and it started right up. That's pretty good. It's pretty good for this thing. Oh. Also failed to mention that I did successfully fix the whatchamacallit here, ignition switch. It'll work off of this man, I can't talk today, sorry guys. It'll work off of the key now instead of having the little push button I had earlier before, so that's awesome. Alright, okay, it's warming up. I need to take a little timing out of it too. Got a little too much timing in it. It's pinging quite a lot last time I drove it. So we're going to start with that. I think this is going to be counterclockwise. Nope. Clockwise. Alright, it's all warmed up. I got the timing a little bit in a better spot. Maybe I'll put a touch more timing into it. But I'm going to tap into the manifold vacuum and try that and see if I can get a little bit of a smoother idle and a little more power on takeoff. Check that out, the trunk light works. Huh. When I was back there wiggling wires around, I must have bumped something loose. Alright, I think I got it tuned up a little better. I ended up not hooking it up to manifold vacuum, sticking with the ported vacuum. I found a couple broken vacuum plugs in the back of the carburetor and replaced them with new ones, and it's running a little bit smoother now. A little bit better. Alright, long overdue update. There's the Caddy out there. I'm doing a little tinkering on it today. Can't remember what I showed in the last video, but I've been working on the car on and off for a couple weeks since the last video. Got all the lights working. Got all the headlights working. And everything works. I've been driving it a bit. Ran out of gas one time. Really need to fix or put another gas gauge on it. So that doesn't happen. But it's running good. It's idling smoother, and it's very drivable now, other than the front brakes just locking up when you hit the pedal. You gotta touch the pedal very gradually. If you just step on the brake, it'll throw you through the windshield. I think maybe the back brake hose is old and swollen up or something. But the rear brake shoes are shot anyway. They have like probably just a sliver, like a penny thickness left on them, which is really weird because brake shoes typically last a long time, and that car doesn't have a lot of miles, so I wonder what the story is behind those rear brakes being so wore out. So I needed to go through that eventually. Other than that, the car is doing really good. It gets a little hot when it sits in traffic. I think I'm going to add an electric fan to the front of the radiator as an extra I can turn on hot days. Got to keep those big blocks cool, but that's a typical Cadillac thing, overheating. Going down the road, it runs right at 190 and does really well going down the road. It could also be a partially plugged radiator. I don't know the condition of the inside of the radiator. It was on there when I bought the car. So other than that, it's doing really good. I'm probably gonna have to take the camera with me one of these days and do a little ride along to finish out this video. So stay tuned for that. Hey guys, another Cadillac video. Been a while yet again. I've been horrible at making videos lately. I'm going to be taking the old 70 Cadillac to a car show this weekend, probably the last one of the year, and thinking I'm going to take you guys with me. I've been organizing the shop. It's an absolute mess. I've been organizing into these different totes on different projects. Like I have my LS swap parts, and I have my Cadillac parts, and I have my 57 Chevy parts. I'm trying to organize because it's a total disaster in here. But digging around, I found some parts I actually needed. This is the kick down switch for the Caddy, so that'll be nice to have that wired up. This is a fuel gauge. I need a wire on that car because the original one doesn't work. The gauge cluster is all messed up because water got, you know, the windshield leaked for many years and messed up the back of the gauges. So I'm going to wire that in, the easy solution there. And then I found the original air cleaner for the car, the air filter housing, and I'm just hitting this with the wire wheel, and I'm going to restore it with some Rust-Oleum. And I ordered a air filter for it. That's going to come in tomorrow, and get rid of the cheap shiny chrome air filter that's on it right now, which is, there's nothing wrong with it, it just doesn't really fit the look of the car. So I'll show you guys what that looks like when I get done with it. This is the one I'm taking off. It just doesn't really fit the look of the car. Well, this part didn't work, the PCV valve, because this is a later model engine, and it's got the PCV valve on the side of the valve cover, not on the top, but that's no big deal at all. So now I should be able to get the air filter in there, and hopefully that fits. This will just kind of give it more of a cruiser look. Land yacht, big giant engine. I don't know, it's not supposed to be a fast hot rod, and this just looks a lot more appropriate. I don't know why that air filter is not sitting on there flat. Well, I forgot that I actually need the offset air filter stud that kind of is shaped like a zigzag like this, because it's kind of offset, so I don't know if I have that or not. Alright, I was digging around in my boxes of stuff and I found it, so that's awesome. Don't have to buy anything. Alright, there it is. It looks a lot better in my opinion. Alright, time for a little cold start action. Got the door panel off because I'm trying to fix the power window. I think the motor's bad on it. It's not the switch, I've determined. Alright, I'm going to give it a few pumps. This thing's thirsty. Takes a few pumps to get it to start. And let's crank it. Pump it some more. Try again. There we go. Nope. Get a couple more pumps. Couple as in 12. Try again. Gonna keep on the gas this time. And don't be too concerned about the oil pressure. That gauge is bad. It sticks. It'll work eventually. Junk gauges. Hey guys, cold November morning here. It is the day of the car show I'm going to with the old 70 Cadillac. Probably the last car show of the year. I'm going to be surprised if anybody really shows up. It's pretty cold this morning, and I know a lot of people don't have heat in their old hot rods. And this Caddy would have heat if I just hook up the blower motor. Everything else is intact. But anyway, I've got my Cadillac Ranch shirt on, so that's pretty appropriate. I just went there just about 2 months ago. Alright, we are off in the old Lanyard Express here. The exhaust that loops over the axle hits the axle when you go over bumps, so that's what all that clunking is. It's kind of unpleasant noise. Sounds worse than it is. Alright, I'll say something. Alright guys, we're cruising along, or I should say floating along in the big land yacht here. It's doing pretty good. It does have a little bit of pinging going on, but I think that's because it doesn't have enough octane in the gas. But looking at the fall colors on the way to this car show, let's see what it's all about. Hey guys, I didn't film much at the car show. It's a pretty good turnout. Quite a few vehicles, not a whole lot of old stuff. Well, quite a few, but mostly newer trucks. Hope you enjoyed this video. Wasn't the best filmed, but I just wanted to get a video out there. It's been a while, so I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.